Hey everybody, this is Brian here from quantlabs.net. This is kind of in continuation from a video I posted yesterday in concerns with interactive brokers using the TWS, or the Trade Workstation utility that they provide, as well as using the Interactive Brokers API, as well as connecting to the TWS through Java. What I'm about to show you is, I won't say revolutionary, but I haven't seen yet a public posting of this online, including YouTube. Obviously, you want to see some audio, you want to see some video to see this running, and I want to show you how stupidly easy this is. I'm kicking my ass for not really doing this a year ago to save myself all the lost time in getting this up and running. In essence, I have played with a lot of different open source platforms. I have played with both Java, .NET, and I can tell you I am somewhat frustrated with a lot of them, with the lack of documentation, the lack of support. And what I'm about to show you, and first of all, I need to let you know I have no affiliation with interactive brokers. Again, I'm only using them because they're really my only option here, being in Canada, to be able to do this sort of thing that I want to do, is to be able to have a custom trading platform, I guess you could call it, for potential high-frequency trading purposes, where it can be scalable and also just blend it and bridge it with R, which was another big challenge that I've come across. So I'll get into that in the near term, but I just wanted to let people know this is probably the most important YouTube video yet. I know I'm approaching up to 200 videos. Again, this is probably the most important video done so far. So where do we begin? Okay. Right now, this is the document for connect to the Java test client. If you are an author from an open source trading platform, take note. This is why I am moving forward with this, because a lot of the source code, lack of documentation, bugging, all the bugs and all that useless stuff just makes me not want to use any of these open source trading platforms. They are just more of a hindrance than a benefit. You strip away all the extra, I'll just call it gunk, that these platforms give you, and you just strip it right down to between your order, what we call an order management system or an execution management system, and bridge it into the IB TWS software, which I'll just show you in a minute. But what I'm about to show you is just to show you how stupidly easy it is. Okay, so as I said, right now what you're looking at is this right here is the Interactive Brokers TWS software. This enables you to, as similar to the gateway into the Interactive Brokers system or ecosystem, you can call it, or infrastructure or ECN, whatever. And this is a software that you would use as part of having and owning a IB account. The nice thing about this tool is this can be used as your cheap-ass risk management or whatever else graphical tool, because all your orders are going to be piped through this little guy right here. Now, just so everybody knows, I have not funded an account with interactive brokers. I have not joined interactive brokers. They just enable me, interactive brokers enables me to easily get into their environment with no limitations, not needing to register myself, which is really good, and it's got some really good software. I'm currently here. I'll put these links out. I'm under the Getting Started guide, coming under here under the Java API. And as I said, there's no time limit. I'm just using their demo account. And it's fantastic. So now I can play with the ECN end of interactive brokers, as well as test out or have a simulated environment where I could test my orders, my execution of my orders through my Java client. So as I said, this document that you're going to be looking at, this I'm going to show you this part right here, connect to the Java test client, is from this download here that I just showed you earlier. Okay, so let's get moving ahead. Now, you might be going, okay, this is how you connect to the Java test client, which I'll show you in a minute, into the TWS. This is so bloody stupid easy. This is where it blows away a lot of the other open source trading platforms. Okay, so right now I'm using NetBeans as my IDE, or integrated development environment. Obviously, everything I'm about to show you is in Java. Create a new project. So I followed these instructions in Chapter 5. Log in to TWS, set up the Java test client project. You know, got some parameters to set. All that. It's any person should be able to do that. And this is what the client looks like, the Java client, which is this guy right here. So what I want to show you is just the Java client itself right now, and just show you how easy it is to work. When you build the source code for the client, this project right here, it's a very simple build. You obviously want to get a successful build, but this is the actual sample. So what you want to do is you want to come in, when you get it built and running, you just connect, and then the TWS, this guy will ask for permission to allow you to connect into the TWS. So one thing you need to be aware of is come under Configure, and under API settings, make sure you click on this Enable ActiveX and Socket Clients. That's trick number one. Trick number two, which can be tricky to get up to that point, is under here, under this download, make sure you download the latest versions of everything, the TWS, the API, which is part of a complete software, including the C++, Java, DDE, ActiveX, all that stuff. But right now we're just using the Java piece. So I'll just show you the breakdown of that file. So I have one here called JTS Test, which is a modified version of what you'll download. You just do it, work off of this Java folder here. And let's get back into our Java client for the API for interactive brokers. So if you're confused as it is, you obviously can rewind the video and whatnot, but I just kind of breeze through it pretty quick. So all I care about is connecting. So when you connect into the TWS, obviously you're going to be getting these messages connected to the TWS server, you have an order ID, and So you want to make sure you get those messages in these boxes, I guess. Now, let's look at the code. We have the code here. Let me just go under another project here. I'm going to show you what you need to configure. So this sample Java code and the sample Java code with R are two different projects, but they're identical. The only difference is I've just added an R demo. I'm going to show you that's a modified version of this one. But let me just show you what you need to do. This is part of the instructions found in this document, in what I just showed you here in this PDF. Okay, so in essence what you need to do is make sure under your properties that you include the source files of the COM and the test Java client of that downloaded API stuff that I just showed you, which is really this guy, and this guy, this COM and these two folders, COM and the test Java client, are the two folders that you want to add to your NetBeans project configuration. That's all explained in that document. So that's one gotcha you got to be aware of. Okay, so everything runs for that. Okay, so now again, this is where I'm going to start adding value to my membership and people that should join the membership and why you should join membership. Because I'm just going to digress a little bit and give you a bit of history. For the longest time, I have been trying to figure out, okay, this little application here is my gateway into the interactive brokers. So this now enables me to trade live using interactive brokers very easily using this application. Obviously, you got the code base to work from to do all these different types of functionality within the world of the API from interactive brokers. Again, all explained in this document here. So over 140 pages of what it can do. It's quite extensive, quite fully rich in features. It's quite good. So that is building basically your trading platform, or in other words, your order management system, your execution management system, call it whatever you want. But that's all this code right here, this COM and this test Java client. This is all those functions and what they can do. Okay, so now we're at that point where I actually have a functioning trading platform within the world of Java. It took me a month, 2 months, 3 months to get to this point. So now, if it was done in .NET, be it Visual C++, be it C#, how would I be able to do the same thing and then blend it with, or bridge it or integrate it with an analytical tool, something like a MATLAB or an R? If you've known and followed me all the longest time, I've shown the MATLAB Builder NE, MATLAB Builder JA products, toolboxes. I've shown the code. It's very wonky. There is another option as well, which is part of the MATLAB world, and that is the MATLAB Coder Toolbox, which enables you to basically take your MATLAB M scripts that you generate, which is your model, and then run it through the Coder Toolbox, and then convert the MATLAB MScript files into C++ files. So then you could turn those into a DLL or whatever we want to do with those components coming and being generated from MATLAB. Very powerful stuff, but it's an expensive toolbox. It's $6,000. And from when I played with it, from 2011 version of MATLAB, a lot of the other toolboxes are not supported. We're in 2012 now. That may have changed. It might have been more advanced. I'm not sure, but $6,000 is a chunk of change for a little guy like me. So that led me into using something like R. Now, I played with enough with R, all the different R packages that enable you to connect into the world of either .NET or Java. So in my case, I've played with R.NET. R.NET has a massive limitation where if you were to build a DLL and call R from within that DLL, it can't be done for whatever reason. You get all kinds of exceptions, so I gave up there. Also, what I'm about to show you, I've tried to do with other Java-based open source trading platforms. I couldn't get to that point to compile it, to build it. I just dropped it like a bad habit, bad potato, and moved on. And then that brought me to my HFT trading platform done in .NET, and all I can tell you is, again, that's full of bugs. I'm not going to go down that path either, because as I said earlier, working with these platforms is more hindrance than benefit, because it's so big. If you run into a bug of some kind, it's just pure ugliness that I just don't want to go down. And also that support as well, the paid support is only via email, so it just did not raise my confidence. So that led me to a video that I posted yesterday concerning using interactive brokers, the API, with Visual C++. That would work if you're not wanting to use something like R. R and Visual C++, Visual C++ or Visual Studio do not play nice. In order to use a product or an R package called RCPP, which I was planning to use, the limitation there is that you need to use a GCC compiler, not the Visual C or Microsoft C compiler that is bundled with Visual Studio. So that was a showstopper as well. So that led me to the point where I'm about to show you using the Interactive Brokers API and using the Java version, but at the same time being able to blend in with or bridge it with R. So I'm going to show you that. So obviously I've shown you this part works with moving in, or enabling your Java app or OMS we call it, EMS, and be able to get into the infrastructure of the ecosystem or the ECN of Interactive Brokers. So now we've got that working, fantastic. But let's say I want to run R within this application. Can that be done? Yes, it can be done, and that can be done quite easily with a product called R Caller. Now let me just show you what that is. I'll put up all these links for you. Now R Caller, I've done 2 videos already for YouTube on that, so you can just go to my Quant Labs channel to get a better idea how the R Caller works and how it integrates. I'm just going to do a crash course in it. Here's the URL. Obviously, with Java, you will need the R Caller jar file. Right now, I'm only using 2.07 of R Caller, and to get that jar file, just come down here to this link and download the appropriate jar file, which is one of them. I think I'm using this guy right here. So once you do that, come back into your NetBeans. Now, like I said, I've got 2 projects here in my NetBeans, the code, and now I'm going to show you the same project, Java project, but with the R implementation included. So let me show you that. So the configuration is quite easy. I've shown you how to add the COM and the Java client for the Interactive Brokers API. But there's one other thing that you need to be aware of. Your libraries, your jar files. Make sure you add your external jar file right here, and also include this R Caller jar file when you download it. Okay. And then that will enable you to obviously work with the R Caller. So from this example right here, I'm just doing this very simple one, this test 3. Let me just show you that right here. So what I've got is, before we launch the form or this little swing app, we're going to do some R before we get there. Okay, so what are we doing right here? Yeah, so we've got our main, and right here is where we execute or call test 3. And this is no different than the test 3 I just showed you in that on that website right here, and it's exact same code. The only difference is where do you find the rscript.exe file. It's the only change I made. Everything works. So let me show you. Okay, right here's all the R calls. If you want to see that from R. So what it's going to do is basically execute the rscript.exe file, and now that opens me up to R, and now I can play with that R environment within this Java app. And again, this same app is now able to also talk to the Interactive Brokers ECN through the TWS, as we've talked about before. So it's going to do some R calls, which are these right here. And then at the same time, you can transfer your R objects into your Java app. So it's very powerful, where now in one Java app you can call your market data from either your TWS through this Java app and using the Interactive Brokers API, or you can do it through obviously in my case IQ feed. I've talked about that enough in the past, and I'll be obviously being able to use the IQ feed API to do all those calls for the market data, and at the same time I can pass off that data into an R environment as I'm showing here. So it's very, 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 very powerful, and it's very fast. Now, you could not do this with MATLAB. You would not be able to call line by line R directly, as it's doing here. These are actual R calls, R functions being called. Okay, and as I said, watch that R caller set of videos I have on the YouTube Quant Labs channel. So, all in all, this is awesome news. So let me just break down this and just show you what I'm doing here. Okay, so we know that everything builds. See, build successful. So we're going to run this. Okay. So, as I said, I've talked enough about here's the R calls being run, and at the same time, it's now executing the to the world of interactive brokers. So I can connect. Watch the other video on interactive brokers and how do you do this. It's very simple though. So this is the TWS now calling accept incoming connection. Yes. And let me just show you the Java app. Here you go. So it's now connected into the TWS connection, as I talked about earlier, and at the same time we've bridged that same app with R. Very powerful, very exciting, just to watch and to see. Some big things are going to be happening. Now let's talk about this demo and the membership and how we're going to move from this day forward. Now that I have the R calls from the Java app, as well as the Java, the R, we've got it all now in one world, I guess you could call it. I've got a bunch of other apps that I've shown that are open source Java, including probably one of the best charting projects that I've seen. I've also got the simulator, testing simulator or exchange simulator that works. So it gives me from this same app, from this same code base, going to get access to that, as well as I have a screener that will blow your friggin' mind. I have not shown that to anybody. That will be one of my secret weapons that only that my membership will get. I will not be recording that webinar at all, and it's just going to be to a very select few that are fortunate enough to be part of that webinar, and that will be the key that will unlock a lot of profitability, especially coming from the world of equities. So that why am I doing this one for free? I just want to show the capabilities of what we've done. I've not yet seen anywhere online, including YouTube or anywhere doing Google searches or whatever, that shows us stuff. From this day forward, a lot of what I'll be putting out there is going to be proprietary. Proprietary with this code, proprietary with the R scripts. It opens up a huge world now, being able to bridge everything together in one Java application. I've showcased it on the YouTube. I've showcased it to my membership, and there's going to be two things happening. Lots of back testing is going to be able to be automated fully. We have the ability to quickly capture market data. I've shown demos of that. We can now test strategies as we pull them together, be able to test them not only in the simulated interactive brokers simulator, but as well as be able to test it in our own simulation world as well, because we have control over manipulating it through setting up a market maker functionality, all kinds of crazy stuff. And again, that will only be proprietary code, only available to my membership. Very important as we build more content, as we build more value, and especially once these strategies and models from the R world show to be profitable, I can assure you the monthly rates, what my current members pay, who will not be affected by these price changes, it's going to get pretty pricey, and now you see why. Because it's things like this, what I'm showing you now, that makes the quantlabs.net one of the, pretty well the only site of its kind that shows you how to do all this. Now again, what we're talking here is we're talking Java. Number one most popular programming language on the planet. Number two, we are using probably the number one statistical analytical tool on the planet, and it's open source. Java is also open source. So because they're both open source, we can run them all for free at no cost, no investment. The other thing is that if you want to run it on Windows, you could do that. You could also run this whole suite of apps or code or whatever on Mac and Linux as well, no problem. For now, I'm going to keep it on Windows, and that's the powerful thing of Java, and it's highly scalable. No questions asked if ends or buts there. So, as I said, this is very exciting to see. We got other webinars coming together that are putting everything together very quickly now, and a lot of the focus is going to be put back into the models and into the strategies to get and to demonstrate profitability. And not only that, but we can now move forward with a major paper trading method or stage to weed out all the crappy strategies and models that don't show any potential profit. But again, this is very exciting to see, and I'm very happy I've gotten here, I've arrived, and we got, as I said, Java and R now talking from the same app, and it's actually talking into the world's #1 broker, and that has one of the best reputations online as well. Obviously, interactive brokers using the TWS, their standard tool, for interacting with IB. So there you go. Very exciting. As I said, early people, get in on the membership. I'll provide all the links and all that. This is a game changer for my world and a game changer for my membership. Over and out.